Good morning. Welcome to Let's Talk on the Second Chance. My name is Philip Jones.
And my name is Tafaro Cook, two-time kidney transplant recipient and founder of Kidney Care Coaches, where we coach people with stage 3 to stage 5 kidney disease. If you or you know someone who has kidney disease and needs coaching with their challenges, hit us up at kidneycarecoaches.com. Today, we have a great article, man, we wanted to bring to you. It's very uplifting and very powerful. This is a 10 strangers come together for a life-changing kidney swap. And these things are getting bigger and bigger and better and better. And I love them because they're helping so many people and they're saving so many people's lives. And not only saving their lives immediately, but it's also getting people off dialysis. And anytime you get someone off dialysis, it feels like a life is being saved just with that moment right there. So I'll start this article, and then I'll bring Phil in and we'll hear what he has to say about it also. So Michael Wingard arrives at the Houston Methodist Hospital with a cheerful howdy. He's a rangy young man with scrub bush of a beard and a healthy left kidney. That's where it's always been, safely tucked up just below his rib cage. In a couple of hours, a surgeon will remove the kidney and sew it into somebody else's body. This also happens to be the day before his 20th birthday. I'm barely even thinking about that, Michael tells NPR. No cake. Unfortunately, it'll be jello or something like that. The Wingard family is from Kerrville, Texas, about 4 hours west of Houston. Michael's parents, Adrian and Ed, are with him, and they're tearing up as Michael is checked in. I'm very nervous and scared. All of these emotions, but I'm so proud of him, Adrian Wingard said. He knew his friend needed a kidney, and he had to do whatever it took to make it happen. That's big, Phil, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get emotional every time I hear something like this because, people, going out and, he's helping his friend. Like, hey, man, you my boy. If I can help you, I will. And he risked his life to help him. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
Because we don't all have that type of person in the world. And in the reverse way, either is somebody that we can save or somebody that would save us. We technically in the situation already. I mean, we ain't got that dude that just stepped up like, hey, because I believe both of yours are women, right?
My sister and my family friend Jackie. Eva was my sister, and then Jackie. They both showed me nothing but love, man. That's big.
Yeah, and so I know I do have probably some people that would, but um, most of them have kids or something like that. Where I would never put them in that position where uh, you know, hopefully it doesn't happen, but possibly could happen where they have to be the one to donate a kidney or part of liver or whatever to their to their child, because parents have 9 times out of 10 are the perfect match for some, for their child. So um it's big, man, to see that. And did it say when this story happened? Was it this year?
I want to say it is this year, but it didn't really say. But maybe if as we keep on going through the article, it will say. But it didn't say at all. But hey, still big.
Well, it's good to see that, in this time people still have a good heart, and are willing to take these sacrifices, to save someone else's life. So it's a great thing for us to see. So hopefully we can see more of it. Hopefully we get to see a lot more change. I would love to see more change, because that means that people are just trying to save lives instead of just be the hero trying to save one person's life, when they potentially could be a part of something that, like, like we read, excuse me, about a month or ago, the 60 person kidney swap. So I
Big.
mean, you get another one of those going on, and that 30 people on the list right there.
That's it.
So, and not at necessarily one time, a good period of time. So I would love to see more of these kidneys. I'd love it. Um,
Oh, chain of life. You gonna start right there?
okay. Yeah, I wanted to make sure you had nothing else to say first
No.
before I just started reading. Um, Michael Wingard's kidney is a chain of life. Michael Wingard's kidney isn't going to his friend, though he wasn't a match for her, but he was a match for someone else. And that's how Wingard became the first link to a 10-person chain that took place in Houston Methodist earlier this month. So I guess it was
Yeah, early
recently.
part of March 22. Yep.
In addition to Wingard, the swap involved Heather Samara, who will get his kidney, then her, then her.
Yeah, I
Oh,
guess.
okay, I got it. I got it. It was what they did was they spaced it apart. I got it. Um, Instead of putting that part lower.
Yeah,
Stacey
did her twin
O'Neill
would give
gave
it to
her
Stacey
kidney.
O'Neill. Yeah.
Stacey
Okay.
O'Neill. I'm sorry, her name is Heather O'Neill. I didn't know if the second part was going to go with that, but um, then her twin Stacey O'Neill gave her kidney to Javier Ramirez Ochoa,
Hmm.
whose son-in-law Thomas Martinez donated a kidney to Chris McLean, whose father David McLean gave his kidney to Barbara Moulton, whose daughter Lisa Jovette gave her kidney to Kaylin Connolly, Wingard's friend. So I mean, you see how it all just connects. It doesn't, just because you really might not um be the match for the person you want to give one to, doesn't mean you still can't give it to save their
Hmm.
life. It's all the
Right.
same thing. It's that you really are saving more than one person's life when you do it.
Right.
The chain and connection that you start, like you said, with this guy. I'm sorry, with the yeah, with the Wingard, and how they started that chain. I mean, it turned in from two people to 10 people.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's some big stuff right there.
One thing I
Since
want to point out. One. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I
no,
apologize. Go
go
ahead.
ahead, you good.
I just want to point out that if you look at the names, these are people are from different racial backgrounds. I want people to understand that when you do these kidney swaps, with the advancement with technology and medicines and things like that now, you could be a black person and give to a white person. You could be a black person and give to a brown person, or Chinese, whatever it may be, and vice versa. White person can give it to a black person. It does not matter, as long as the titers line up and the blood types line up. You're fine. I just want people to know that, because Jackie gave her kidney to someone else who was Mangela. I received my kidney from Liz, and Liz is a Greek a Greek lady. She's white, and I have her kidney, and I'm a African American. So again, just want to tell people that we hear a lot of these boundaries of, oh, I'm black, I can't give it to this person. I'm white, I can't give it to this person. It's not true. I just want to debunk that myth. So in these transplants, you can see that people are just giving them to people, as long as the titers, which are the antibodies, and as long as the blood types match up. And don't get me wrong, they have to do a couple other calculations too that I'm not quite familiar with. But as long as those things are A1, you're good to get a transplant, and you're good to give a transplant. So I want people to know that. Go ahead, Phil.
Okay, I'm gonna just get through this real quick. This 10
Mhm.
person procedure takes place over 4 days and it's uncommon. The last one in Houston Methodist was in 2020. Usually the hospital has chains that involve up to 6 people. With all complexities from matching antibodies to, just like you just said, matching antibodies to patient health, a kidney swab is hard to pull off. This one was postponed 3 times. I mean, you did 6 in the beginning and it got postponed before, didn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
It got
Right.
postponed because of me, because my antibodies bounced back up. So they had to rearrange. The one that they had put it together, they had already went with it because they had 5 people. I mean, they had 4 people already, so they had to replace 2 more and went with that one. I had to wait another 3 months in the another a month and a half in the hospital, which equated to me being in the hospital for 3 months because I kept having to go through treatments too. So yeah,
Right.
sometimes these things happen. Go ahead, Phil.
So what was that? But it's worth the effort. There are
Mhm.
about 90,000 people on the Organ Procurement Transplant Network list waiting for a kidney. Many will remain on the list for years. Some will die waiting. Transplanting
Yeah.
kidneys from living donors greatly increases the number of kidneys available. Additionally, a kidney from a living donor functions for 12 to 20 years on average, while a kidney from a deceased donor works for about 8 to 12 years.
Mhm. Wow, that's big, man. Again, so getting one from a living donor is what they consider better, but not all the time. I've seen people who get them from deceased donors, and they beat the odds, man. They go for 20 some years, 30 some years. Also, so it's about a lot of things. And I just won't even go into it because you could say diet, you could say diet and exercise and all that. It's just not that. It's a whole bunch of other things outside of that. Because I've seen people not even do any diet or exercise, and they still kidney lasts forever. And I've seen people work out, exercise, and eat right, and the kidney might not last that long. So again, there's a lot of variables to why these kidneys last like that and things like that. So very, very important. I'm gonna start right here. I want to miss too much, but I'm gonna start where you left off, Phil, because I just want to. It has this part's a little bit important. Okay, so I'm just gonna start where you left off. Dr. Richard Link, Michael Wingard's surgeon, arrived a few hours after Wingard's checked in to explain the surgery. This, to explain the surgery will be laparoscopic. He'll remove the left kidney through a 2-inch long incision in the abdominals. Dr. Link describes this as a relatively routine operation. You'll be surprised that we can get a kidney out of the size of a hole that we make, he says. It's a little bit of a magic trick. And I agree with that. I just want to point out that, you know, and when you see my incision is like 8 inches long. And then when you see the
But
new
mine
kidney
too.
transplant, right. But your next one won't be. When you see the new incisions now, the incisions are like 2 inches long. And it's like crazy because if you saw my first one's like 12 inches long. And then my second one's 8, you know what I'm saying? So it's amazing how you see the technology now where they 2 inch your incision on your new one will be like this. You'll be like, dang, how'd
Hey,
they do that?
a lot of things have changed in areas when it comes to the kidney world and stuff. Because when I first got sick at 4 and they did my biopsy, they did it on my left side right here, and I still have that scar. It's about that long, And then I remember when I did the biopsy after transplant, a couple months after transplant, they do a biopsy and stuff, make sure everything is still where it's supposed to be going and things of that nature. There was no cutting involved. They took that,
it was just a straight stick.
the thing, right? Yep, and click, and it, numb you first, and then in that area, in your area where your kidney is, and they take like this 2045 object that you normally wouldn't have seen until it came out, and click, and that's all you hear is click and shoot. I'm like, oh, a lot of
Wait
things
till
have
you see the
changed.
new ones though, and that's even primitive now. The new ones is even smoother than that, man. They look through this screen now, and they put you underneath this light and stuff, and this little thing just comes down. And it nowhere near, what that was, and that was the gun back in the day. What you're talking about, that was the click. You don't hear any of that now, man. This stuff is technology is something else, man. But let me continue with this story right here. While Wingard is getting wheeled down the hall, Heather O'Neill Samarla is getting prepped to receive his kidney. And Lisa Jovilet is settling into her room. The 43-year-old from Houston has an easy, infectious laugh, even though it's night before her surgery. She's cracking up at jokes about Jello shots and Astros and the crap kidneys. I don't know what that means. Jovia is here because her mother, Barbara Moten, who loves casinos and her grandchildren, learned that she was in kidney failure in 2019. She had she had kind of said, "This is my fate. These are my cards I'm dealt," Julia said. But Moten arrived at Houston Methodist. Her doctor told her she only had two options: dialysis or death. Her daughter refused to accept that and reached a third option, a living donor transplant. She made her mom a pinky swear. If you're denied, we'll never say anything about it, Juliet told her. You don't have to do dialysis and you can ride out into the sunset. But Moulton passed every test and got approved for a kidney transplant in August 21. I'm so ready to exhale, Juliet says. It's been a long time waiting. I can agree with that, man. Sometimes, some people, some people are on dialysis, for over a decade, like Phil and I. And some people are on it a couple months or a couple years, but it still feels like a long time to them. You know what I'm saying? So you can't. It's amazing. So you just got to be thankful and happy because again, this can be traumatic for people to live on a machine or live on some type of mechanism because they're just not used to that type of lifestyle. And some people will ride out to the sunset like, hey, I'm not going to do dialysis. I'm going to check out of here and go on with their lives. And they're okay with that. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, I'm a good friend of mine that actually works with my dad. His uncle was dealing with kidney failure, and he was just like, you know what, I just don't, I just don't want to do it no more. He
Nice.
just got tired of it. He was just like, you know what, if it's my time, it's my time. You know, it's time this elevator and get to pushing and do what I gotta do. And
I ain't
I
mad
mean,
at nobody. I ain't mad at nobody who says that. I ain't mad because for
not at
one,
all.
when you go through something like this and it's pretty traumatic, every day, every night you feel like you're on an island by yourself. I ain't mad at when somebody says they don't want to do it. I can't be mad at them, man. Go ahead, Phil. You can start reading the
Man,
article.
hold on. Okay, there we go. Just trying to unlock my phone to get there. Okay, so the surgery. I'm gonna read maybe half of this, and I'm gonna turn it over to
Okay.
Mr. Cook because he knows a little bit more about this area than I do. But it says the surgery. NPR was at the hospital for most of the 10 surgeries. Each was amazing and intricate, but it's routine for surgeons. They know all the stops, turns, and shortcuts. The territory inside their body becomes familiar. Dr. Link, Michael Wingard's surgeon, slices through skin and tissue around muscle and toward the left kidney. He steers a surgical tool called a laparoscope, equipped with a tiny light and camera to guide the snips made with harmonic scalpel that cut and cauterize in the same slice. So basically, what that
Mm-hmm.
is, if you've ever had, sometimes they actually do this procedure, and if you are having another procedure in your sleep, and they'll tend to it in a non what's called basically a non-invasive way, more or less. It's not a super cut or anything like that where you have to go in or anything like that. And so what it is basically it looks like you ever seen that coating, basically, I guess you could say, that's over wires to keep them like together. So
Yeah.
it's like a cord kind of like that. And like you said, described here in the article, it has a camera on the end, a light as well connected to it, and then there are these little snip things that look like little like nose hair clipper type things that are just
Mm-hmm.
a whole lot sharper than that. And so, but these things allow it to move through the body without also snipping accidentally or anything like that. Where they
Mm-hmm.
can maneuver through the body to get to the positions that they need to get to,
Right.
and snip what they need to snip, or do whatever they need to do. So um
Right. It's a harmonic scalpel. So just what Phil's talking about. He's also talking about the cut and cauterize. So what that means is when they cut, they're also preparing. So what the cauterizing is like a small little burn. They're burning the skin as they cut it. They're closing it up also. That's so you won't get any blood, any other scarring and things like that. So it's almost like a cut and a heal process also. So cauterizing is like what we call with heat. So that's how they do it, and it's pretty amazing when you see it happen. I've seen some documentaries and things like that of it happening, and you're like, wow, man, how they just go through it. It just opens it up perfectly. But go ahead, Phil.
the journey to the left kidney is captured in 3D images that enhance the colors, and the view is other colors, and the view is other and innerworldly. The
Yeah, it
spleen
is.
looks like smooth pink bean. The stomach walls are whirls of light pink and savory. As
Hmm.
promised, Dr. Link slides Wingard's left kidney out of his body through a slit about as wide as the edge of a credit card. He calls the organ unremarkable and means it's a compliment. You want to go ahead
Yep.
and read that part?
Yeah. Dr. Osa Gabber, head of the Houston Methodist Transplant Program, sits ready sits ready at a silver bowl packed with crushed ice. He receives the fist-sized organ, rinses it, and places it in the bowl. The crushed ice begins to melt and turns the color of watermelon slushy. Yep, that's what it does because that organ is warm and it wants to keep it on ice so it won't have any trauma to it and it stops the inflammation. When the kidney has cooled enough, Dr. Gaber packs it with ice into a plastic bag and puts it on a plastic bucket. He takes off down the hallway, delivering the organ to another operating room where Heather O'Neill Samella is waiting. Dr. Gabber sews it into place in the front of her lower belly. So that's like the first time you get a transplant, it's going to be sewed into right where your abdomen is, and they put it in front of you. And the reason why they put it in front of you like that because it's too hard to put the kidneys back where your native kidneys is because they have to go underneath the ribs and everything. And so what they do is a lot of people don't notice, but what they do is they just unhook your native kidney and they just float and they just eventually atrophy. And they put the kidney in the lower left side of your abdomen. It might be on your lower left side. It might be on your lower right side, depending on what the doctors feel is the best place to put the kidney. So that's what they're talking about. Dr. Garber laughs. He is delighted because Wingard's former left kidney is now O'Neill's kidney, and it's working. Apparently, I peed all over the table as soon as he just hooked it up, Sabrella says. And then I'm going to tell you right now, that's a good thing. Because
Right.
just like my doctors told me, they said, man, the kidneys start working immediately as soon as we put it in you. And it's amazing. You'll see, like, I've seen people get transplants, and the next day they get the transplant. Their complexion has changed. They look
Mhm.
lighter. They look more vibrant and everything. And you get energy. All you like, man, I feel better. It's like you got a new battery pack. Believe me, it's ready to you're ready to
It's
go.
funny that you say that because I remember when I had my transplant and I was sitting in the hospital. I was sitting, look, I know most of y'all was, next day up and trying to, walk around and do things. I sat in my bed for 3 days, right? And
Mm,
I remember the doctor came in and said, Mr. Jones, so you can't go home until you start walking, right? And I said, y'all waited 3 days to tell me that? Man, I remember as soon as he walked out, I grabbed that walker. It was like, man, let's get
I
on
know
up out of here. Let's let's get
that.
on around these floors real quick so I can get on here and get out of here, man. And had to, but what kind of kept me in there because some extra that they took some extra precaution and kind of waited to um taking out the catheter and
Yeah,
uh the blood drain and stuff like that they had in there and all that type of stuff like that. So I ended up going out like 2 days after that. But I'm like, what? You wait 3 days, almost four, to tell me I can't leave until
they,
I start walking?
they,
I'd have been
hey,
gone two
they
days ago.
I know you would have. I know you would have, man. They told me immediately, man. I walked that day. I walked that night of transplant. I got transplanted early in the morning. By the end of the night, man, I was up. I was up. They was like, "This dude is up already." I'm like, "Okay." But what was crazy was I had a stent in, I had a stent in my to my bladder, so I had to stay in the
Mm,
hospital for like another 2 or 3 weeks because of that, and they wanted to watch me over because my
really?
titers. Yeah, I had to stay for a long time, man. Afterwards too, because I did all that plasmapheresis and to bring the
Right.
antibodies down. So they wanted to see how I was going, if they were going to rebound. There was a lot going on at the time with me, so that's why I had to stay a couple weeks after. Not in the hospital, but I had to stay at the
Hmm.
hotel and go to the hospital every
Oh, stay
day.
close to the hospital. Okay, got you.
Yeah, I had to go stay
'Cause
at the
I was
hospital every
like, that's
day.
weird.
Nah,
Cause
not for me, man. It wasn't. I had to stay. I didn't stay at the hospital. I stayed 7 days at the hospital after. I had the
uh,
catheter in. They still had the shit the stent in me inside my stomach
right,
because
right.
of the bladder, and
Uh huh.
therefore, and that's a whole different story, man. I had to tell you about it. It's crazy. And then
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
I
and
already
then
know.
then I had to stay a month afterwards because of the stent inside my bladder. I had a stent
Right.
inside my bladder they had to put in also. So they had to
Mm,
eventually take that out too. So yeah, man,
hmm.
you'd be surprised how much stuff we have to go through, and not every one of them isn't just routine. Sometimes you got to go to some different stuff, man. But we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna wrap this up
Yeah.
real quick.
If
Everybody,
not, let's if you don't mind, let's if we can't jump, I do want to touch on this though. Is the or let
go
at
ahead.
least you is the reveal
The
part.
reveal, yeah.
Yeah,
All
because
right,
it's
go ahead. You
it's
can go
something
ahead
you
and read.
mentioned earlier. That I was kind of going through just see how much we had left, and it's a part in here that's very interesting about what you brought up earlier about how you were saying how science is and stuff, and how you can be white and donate to somebody black or stuff like stuff like that. So there's a part in here. Yeah, I believe it's in that specific area. Let me make sure. yeah, in that area that I want you to. I'm sorry, 1 second. Um,
Go ahead. You can start
you
at
got to read
Whipsaw.
the whole thing though.
You want to read it? You could go ahead and start at Whipsaw because you're
Okay,
talking about. Go ahead.
give me 1 second. Make sure I get to. Oh snap! What just happened? Okay, so the reveal. 2 days after Michael Wingard's kidney surgery, a group of strangers gathers in a conference room at the hospital. Michael Wingard, Caitlin Conley, Heather Samaro, Stacey O'Neill, Lisa Jove, Javier Ramirez Ochoa, Thomas Martinez, Chris McLean sit around the conference table. Family members and Dr. Hover around the periphery, and then they aren't strangers anymore. So Marriage
Hmm.
finally gives Guard a stuffed toy that matched one that she carries around. Chris McClain leans over to Thomas Martinez. Thank you for giving me my life back. And he adds, you have an
Hmm.
awesome kidney. Only Barbara Moden, David McLean aren't in the room to meet each other. They've just gotten out of surgery. Dr. Gabber tells Lisa Jobet that her mother's surgery went smoothly. Lisa claps his hands and thanks him through tears. She looks at Kaylin Connolly, who received Jove's kidney the day before. And so I'm gonna skip all the rest of this stuff. But the reason why I did that is because Kathy Conley, which is the mother of the kidney recipient, Kaylin Conley, embrace. It is a picture here that says embraces Lisa Jove, who gave her kidney to Kaylin. Lisa is black and Kaylin is white.
Hmm.
Well, on their nationality, but just by the eye look test of um
I think you're
the
right on that,
picture
though.
that's here.
Right. I think you're
You
right.
know, so what's going on with kidney trails? So that's a very important thing to know when you think that that's something that's important when it's really
A
not.
roadblock.
Yeah,
Right.
it's yeah, a roadblock. So please understand that, especially nowadays, who knows if it ever really was an issue at one point, but race is not a factor
Nope.
in trying to save someone's life. I've seen
Exactly.
plenty of things uh on YouTube videos where donor families meet the recipient or stuff like that, and it's completely two different nationalities and races and things like that. So if you want to save someone's life, all you gotta do is ask. Take me, go. If you have a specific person, somebody who plays sports, or somebody who draws or whatever, that's all good and dandy. But I just say that you at least, if nothing else, take the time to think about it. If you're willing to do it, not everybody is willing to do it alive, right? Some people are just like, I don't mind doing it a donor when I leave here, but I just can't I can't do it alive while I'm walking around. I'm like, oh well, okay. I mean, I'm
If I
honestly,
wasn't
I'm
in this
just ready.
situation, I would. I would. I don't have no problem with it. I don't have any
Oh,
problem
of
with
course,
it.
I mean, I'm signed up as a donor now. If I could, I definitely would do it with no problems. But yeah, that's all I wanted to touch on. If you have any last words, you can take us out, sir.
I just want to say it was a great article. I'm glad everybody's doing well in that 10-person kidney swap. That was big. Again, if you do want to be a donor, if you just want to be a donor, altruistic donor, don't hesitate to sign up. Don't hesitate to go to your local hospital wherever you are and tell them that's what you want to do, and they can guide you into the right direction of becoming an organ donor. And if you want to be, take it from me, take it from us. Hit us up and ask us if you have any questions about becoming if you want to donate to one of your friends or to one of your loved ones or somebody and you have some questions, we can even guide you into the right people you need to talk to so you can get some answers if you have questions and things like that, because we do need more donors out here in this world. And thank you to those who donate. That's all I have to say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So next month is Donate Life Month. You know, these are busy 2 weeks, 2 months for this community because it's Kidney Month for March, and then Donate Life month in general for April. So go from one job to another basically. So we go from kidney disease to just organ donation period and transplantation. So me and Mr. Cook are in the process of trying to put some things together for next month. We will have some, our normal during months like this where we have, a show during the week here and there or whatever. So look for those. As always, will be informative or inspiring or something in those areas. For you to get some information from. So look for those. We'll be coming out with those soon. We appreciate whoever was watching today. Thank you for your support. Please subscribe, like, comment as well. And we'll see you tomorrow morning.